I kind of have one side-off thing. I've been recently... Well, I've done it for a while now, but I've actually fixed Xbox 360s for a little bit. Correctly, not with YouTube fixes or, all that other finagled BS that people claim that work that actually make it worse. So I just got one running here not too long ago, and I'm just testing it because I'm not sure exactly if it's still up to snuff or not, but I'm afraid I might need a reflow on it. But basically what the main problem with these 360s that they've had is cold solder joints on them. When they came from Microsoft, either the CPU or the GPU block, there's actually little balls of solder underneath them that solder them to the motherboard. And during this process, some of these solder joints weren't exactly correct. They were either they have cracks in them, which cause them to be weak joints, or they weren't flowed correctly. So what you end up having to do is there's of course multiple problems with the Xbox as time went on. The overheats, the free red rings, and everything. Yeah. But pretty much the way to fix them is a couple ways. Either if it's not too bad, take the thermal paste off, fix all the thermal paste, and put it back on, and hopefully it'll work. But most of the time, the board is really warped really bad because there is hotspots on the board, and since the GPU and CPU are so close together, that's what's called the red zone. And then of course you move out from there, the yellow zone, the orange zone, and then red, orange, yellow, and then the green zone. Yeah. But badly, it warps the board. So this board that I'm currently working with was warped pretty bad. So what I ended up having to do to fix it was put nylon washers under the GPU block, because the board was warped so bad, the corners of the GPU block would not touch the motherboard, thus creating 3 red rings and not even run. So I'm hopefully warping the board back into the correct position, and the solder joints looked okay. So I've been thoroughly trying to find a company that does solder reflows, but I've got one in mind. But what to do to properly fix it is known as a reflow station. Basically what it does is an infrared beam, if you would, that covers up the top of this specific board and heats the board up to a specific temperature. Now you can go from 100 degrees to over 300 degrees, depending on what you want to do for a melting point. And of course, this is silver solder on these Xboxes specifically, and silver solder has a fairly high melting point, which is around 180 degrees to 100. Pretty high. Yeah, it's close to about 180. So it takes quite a bit of equipment. It takes at least $900 to $1,500 reflow station to do some of this. But most of these Xboxes I've seen is they've got overheating problems. People stand them up, which is extremely stupid in my opinion, because the vents on the bottom is your intake vent for air. And you cram these Xboxes in these cabinets and stand them up. It's just stupid. It was never meant to stand up. I mean, they did it with the PlayStation 2, and look how much problems they had with them. And then they ended up laying the stupid thing down. And then now they market the 360 for standing up, and plus they market the new 360 for standing up, not to mention the PS3. It's like, okay, yes, it is slimmer to do it that way, but no, just lay it down, put it in an open environment so it keeps a lot of air. Second thing, you gotta blow out your power brick too. You can't just throw your power brick on the floor and expect it to keep running. There is actually a fan in the power brick, believe it or not, that keeps it nice and cold. You gotta blow that out with canned air. You gotta keep them clean. It's like a computer, you stick a computer on the floor, it's gonna collect dust, especially if you have pets and everything, so you gotta keep them clean. I know I'm kind of ranting on here a little bit, but No,
go ahead.
It's just it boggles my mind because people did the YouTube fix for it, and it actually makes it worse. It was never designed to be clamped down like that because it's so tight on the tolerances. There's nothing wrong with the X clamps. The X clamps work perfect. Sometimes they need retensioning because they get heated up, but that's easy enough to do. You just bend them back into place and you heat them up a little bit, and they go back to where they should be. So drilling holes in it and actually putting bolts through it well, seems like a good idea, actually breaks the solder connections that are actually on the board. It puts micro cracks in them, and then you really can't fix it then. Pretty much once an Xbox has had the YouTube fix done to it, it's pretty much junk, because you can't repair the connections on the board.
Sounds like a lot of work and really complicated.
It is. It is really a lot of work. They're really not too bad to take apart. I've taken them apart a lot, and I've got it down to a science to take them apart. And mostly what I do is I clean the thermal paste off, because most of the time it's white, nasty, junk thermal paste. I put Arctic Silver on it, and I got an Arctic Silver kit, which, by the way, works amazingly well. It smells like lemons, so whatever the cleaner is for that Arctic, that
Does
Arctic
it really
Silver
matter
cleaner
what the Arctic
perfect.
Silver smells like?
Yeah, I will put up a YouTube link. I'll give Miles the link to try the Arctic Cleaner kit, because it works great. It took about a good thick layer of thermal paste off, letting it sit for about 5 seconds off in a matter of seconds, and it made it look clean. But I put new thermal paste on, I clean it off, I put, me being computer savvy, I've replaced solder all the time, and you only want about a pea-sized on it. A pea-sized dab, no bigger. Even for computer blocks. You don't layer it on there, and then you don't, spread it all around per se, because you have to get it even. And most people try to use a flat surface like a credit card or a little piece of plastic, and well, that's good and all, that's not bad.
It does work, but usually you don't need to do that.
No, you don't need to do that. And the reason why you don't do that is because it makes air pockets when you put the CPU block on it. And that's where it traps heat, and then it pushes, that heat works its way out slowly, but what it does is it pushes all your thermal paste out as well. And that's why it oozes out, and then it overheats. You generally just want to put a pea-sized dab, put it on just a little bit. What I like using is a baggie, sandwich baggie, inside out in the corner. I just stick my finger in it, and then I kind of smear it around a little bit, just to coat the edges, and then I put the CPU block right on it, and let the CPU block actually spread the thermal paste, because then it spreads it evenly.
I have no idea. I don't do too much modification on my console, so it's interesting. Also,
it's also interesting that you mentioned the consoles being held vertically, and the Nintendo Wii is a console that's made to be put up vertically.
Yes, the Wii was, and that's why I didn't mention the Wii. I really haven't found a problem with the Wii going vertical. Considering it's got what I call an injection CD drive in it. It holds the disc in it. It's not an actual tray. The PS3, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 2 all had a manual physical drive, and that's why they're not meant to be held up that way.
Wait, PS3 has a manual drive?
The older ones did.
Even though it's just like the Wii's where you feed it in?
The newer PS3 has well, depending on which generation it was. I know the new Slim, the Super Slim, has a physical drive in it.
Yeah, it has a top loader. They
got the top loader. The Slim actually has a physical drive in it as well. It's just I think it's like the Gen 1 or the Gen 2 PS3s have the crap. I know one of them has the drive where it holds the disc in, and then they went to a mechanical drive, but I don't recall which one it is. But they've had issues where it eats CDs. Not as bad as the Xboxes, but I mean, they've had people where they've got the controllers on it, or people that still have the wire controllers for it, even though it's wireless. Have it fall over and it eats their discs. Either I got a cat or a dog or something knocks it over.
My receiver for like my stereo system recently broke, and like it's one of these really weird things where it didn't just break. It's whenever I turn it on, it just acts really, really weird, and it won't respond to anything. But like its lights flicker, and sometimes like a weird noise goes over the speakers, and it's like, did this thing go haunted, or what exactly did it do? But I've got like a disc to The Simpsons 6th season in there that I'm probably gonna have to take apart the stupid receiver to get at. But like the receiver doesn't work at all. If I turn it on, it will like do nothing or do really weird things. Or I'll just play like these really weird, stranging sounds. It's not like haunted sounds per se. They're like electronical sounds, but it gives me the impression that my stupid receiver's haunted.
I had a really old TV, and then there was a tower not at a house not far from where mine is, and it was used for like receiving radio signals. And sometimes I'd hear these weird sounds coming through the speaker in my TV, because it would somehow like interfere with the signal, and they'd come through my speaker for whatever reason. So I guess it's kind of similar to that.
That's probably what's happening.
So I've had a couple successful customers happy. I mean, knowing what I've been doing, I've had some of their Xboxes work for a couple months on end. Others they break down in another week because they're really rough with them, but that's really not the Xbox's fault. And I do what I can to try to fix them because I try to save a little money, even though they're fairly cheap now. The new one is what, $200, $300, $299, and I really do like the new one. The new one is really nice. Especially they redesigned it, of course. They they got a 120mm fan in the new ones, and they've moved a couple things around on the board. And
yeah, do those ones have many problems, or is it usually just the really old ones you have to worry about?
The original really old ones still have a high mortality rate. The new ones really don't have that high of a rate. I don't remember the rate offhand, but it's a lot lower than the frickin' older ones. I'll tell you that. I still have issues with why they went with the piano black finish. I would assume Microsoft learned their lessons from the black Elites. Black, of course, holds a lot more heat, and just painting them black was just stupid. I much preferred the white ones over anything because they did stay a lot cooler and they looked better.
Yeah.
No, they don't have a really high death rate because the newer ones have that safety feature built in with the hardware where if it hits a certain temperature, which it does quite often if you you shove it in a non very good ventilated area, it'll just turn off on you and it'll give you a one ring light and it'll say you got to wait 2 hours for this to cool down. They force that on people because people were leaving these Xboxes on 24, 48, 72 hours. They're not made for that. Especially when you cram them in a friggin' entertainment center.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. And then that's why the whole aftermarket fan thing came out, and yeah, that wasn't good because people would leave them on with the aftermarket fan on, and then the aftermarket fan started causing fires.
Ouch.
That's why you saw the recall on some of those aftermarket fans.
That stinks.
So.
Wow.
But
no, I still have my Wii from when I got it. I didn't get it at launch. I got it a few months after launch, and it still works just fine. I've had no issue with it at all.
My Wii is a launch day Wii. I was first in line.
Oh, you waited in line?
Why don't
you tell that story?
Okay, sure. I got there 2 p.m. the day before it came out. I waited out all night with a friend. And yeah, we had Burger King like 3 times that day. It was pretty fun. And then we went home and we played it. Like the friend came over after we got it. We played it to like 11, and then we both crashed. And I didn't wake up until 7 a.m. the next day. So I slept for almost 24 hours.
Oh my gosh!
Because it was November. It was like November whatever, something in the middle of November, and it was really cold where I am, up in Canada land. So yeah, it was a freezing night, and I didn't get any sleep or anything. Obviously, because I was outside. And yeah, I was just dead by the end of it. But it was a lot of fun, although I'm not going to do it in the next while, because it was a lot of fun getting the Wii first day, although I don't really have any desire to get any other consoles first day. I'd rather just sit back and see if there's any kinks that need to be worked out, and maybe get like a bundle or something that comes out later on. But yeah, so I sat out and got the Wii the first day, and that was a lot of fun.
God, I hate these enemies.
Anyone thinking about getting the Wii U close to launch?
Maybe not necessarily very close to launch, but I'll be getting it, not too long from its launch. That's for definite sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to pass. I really don't have a Wii, other than the new Kirby Anniversary, which has really tempted me to get a Wii. But I've also been looking at a PS3 since they're getting a price cut come here December, close to Christmas. Mm-hmm. So I am looking at that as well because I really don't play my Xbox anymore. I got really sick of Microsoft's BS with the whole pay for my internet twice.
Oh yeah.
And then when they added that feed to the Netflix thing, I'm like, done. I might as well just go buy a freaking Blu-ray player if I wanted to watch Netflix for free. Why the hell am I paying Microsoft just to have a gold connection to watch freaking Netflix when I can do it for free on a computer or another device?
Even a Wii, it's free on the Wii.
Yeah, it's like, really? What the hell, Microsoft?
I have a PlayStation 3 and I love it. See, that's the thing. I got the Wii the very first day it came out, and back in that time, PlayStation 3 was like freaking $700 or something. Up here in Canada, anyway.
God damn it.
Oh god, what happened?
No, I'm low on HP because those stupid frickin' ninja enemies kicked my ass. So
Ouch.
now we're gonna hear the Blair Blair Blair. How far away from my next level up? 1600? I'm probably gonna have to use one of my healing items.
I haven't really been looking at your HP. I've been watching Bowser, although for some reason I didn't think you were getting that low. But yeah, so I have a PlayStation 3, and sorry, I kind of skipped ahead in the story. I had a Wii, but then I don't know. I kind of started getting tired of the games and stuff. There was massive gapping points where like nothing I was really interested in was coming out. So PlayStation 3, the price started to go down. It was about $300, so I picked one of those up, and I've loved it. I have a ton of games for it, and I don't know. I really like it. I find it's a lot better than the Wii. I mean, like the online features and stuff like that. Plus, I've been having a lot of fun with the different games and stuff like that. I mean, of course, first-party Nintendo stuff is usually quite good. But I don't know. I mean, there's just so many things I've bought for the PlayStation 3. It's really good. Has anyone heard of 3D Dot Game Heroes?
I have not.
It's like a really old-styled Zelda game, like like Zelda 1 or Link to the Past. But it's 3D, but it's still top-down view, and it's a really good game. And it's only for PlayStation 3, and I don't know. That makes it all worth it right there. I love that game to death. But yeah, it's a good game.
Nice.
Plus, I mean, other games I wanted, which didn't even come out for the Wii, like Sonic Generations was awesome. So I had got that for PlayStation 3, and stuff like that. Plus, even the downloadable games on PlayStation 3. I mean, are there any good downloadable games on the Wii?
Classic stuff. That's basically
yeah,
it.
other than classic stuff. But I mean, as far as like actual like games and stuff go, that aren't just like older things brought back, PlayStation 3 and even 360 have a lot of good stuff too that the Wii doesn't have. But yeah, like I just downloaded Sonic Adventure 2. I have to beat that again now.